Today we are going to learn loops in C, that is how looping statements work in C language. Okay, let's start. Loopings are used when we want to execute a part of the program or a block of statements several times. That means when we want to repeat something or some block in a programming like C language, the concept of loops is there, isn't it? Like the output displayed on the screen. Suppose we want to print hello, how are you 10 times. One way to get the output is to write 10 printf statements in C language, which is not a great idea. And other method will be what? Other way out will be what? Is to use the concept of loops, or some books have mentioned the loops as iterations. Using loops, we can write one loop statement and only one printf statement. That means you put one printf statement in a loop and loop will automatically execute the part that number of times, which number of times you want, isn't it? This is really a method, better option than the first one, isn't it? With the help of looping or loop statements, we can execute a part of the program repeatedly with the number of times till some condition is true. That means when the condition is true, the loop will execute automatically. If the condition becomes false by the given condition, it will automatically come out from the loop. It's very similar to the example like you have a washing machine at your home and you put the timer or any other electronic appliances at your home which works on the concept of loops. You execute the machine till the time is there, and when the time is over it will automatically stop working. This is the concept of loop. If you want to see the concept of loop in your home in practically, you can watch the working of your washing machine at your home. Washing machine has a timer. We set the timer, isn't it? We set the timer for a particular time. After completing the particular time, it will automatically stop. This is basically the concept of loops. Okay? When we talk about loops in C programming especially, the syntax will be like this. You have to use an initial statement, you have to use a final statement, and the output you want to print with an increment statement or a decrement statement. That means whenever a loop is there, one is the initial condition, one is the final condition you want to reach, and one is the method by which you will be reached to the particular condition, isn't it? Whether it is an increment statement, whether it is a decrement statement, or any other condition or any other statement you can put, but the basic thing is you have to use an initial value, you have to use a final value, and you have to use a step method. That means how you can reach to the given condition, isn't it? Okay, when we talk about the example of the loop, it can be like this. When we use a concept in practical, we use the concept like this, we put the statement like this. We will see this concept in later in this video, but this is the syntax of your loop. So you have to remember, you have to give initial statement, you have to give final statement, and you have to give your increment statement or decrement statement or the statement which reaches to the particular final condition to make it false. If you will not give the final, that means increment statement or decrement or any other statement to reach the final condition, the loop will not execute till the condition is true. The loop will be in a infinite loop. That means when you are not giving the condition till you want to reach it, then it will automatically give you an infinite loop condition, isn't it? So when we talk about C programming, there are three types of loop statements in C language, right? Which three types are there? First one is do while loop. Do while loop is also called as entry control loop. Why it is called as entry control loop? We will see. While loop is called as exit control loop and for loop. These are the three loops: do while and for. You have to mention the keywords in a small case. That is why when you saw this video on the screen, you will see I have already mentioned these letters in small case. Do while should be in small, while should be in small, for should be in small, because as you know, C programming is a case sensitive programming. That means you have to put as it is mentioned in the keywords. You can't use small letters instead of capital or capital instead of small for the keywords, isn't it? So when we talk about do while, we say it is a exit control. Why is it a exit control? This is the reason, because when you saw this on the screen, you can see while I have used the while and I have put the condition here, that is I less than equals to 10. That means the final condition is at the exit point. You are checking the condition at the exit point. That is the reason it is called as exit control loop. And when we talk about while loop, it is an entry control loop. That means automatically the condition is tested at the beginning. When at the beginning I put while and then I less than equals to 10. What is this I and what is the other variables are there? We will see in the practical. You just watch this. What is the exit control loop? Exit means at the end you have to mention the final condition, and in the entry control loop at the beginning you have to mention the final condition, isn't it? And when we talk about the for loop, the syntax and the example will be like this, right? Now the question arises, if their purpose is the same, if their working is the same, then what is the fun of using the three loops? If one loop can do the same thing which is done by the other two loops, sorry. So the purpose is what? Do while loop is used whenever we want the condition is executed at the end, right? When we use switch cases and when we use menu driven examples, then we use do while. Or while is used for when we have to check the condition at the beginning, then and then the loop will execute. And for, obviously you can see the for loop will be the fastest loop for the compiler, because the initial value, the final condition and the increment or decrement statement is at the same line. So compiler need not to step up or step down for it. All the things are present in the same line. So definitely for loop is the best loop for the programmers. Then what is the basic difference between do while loop and while loop? You can see here as an example, when we saw that while is an exit control loop. That means if the condition is false, although even the condition is false, remember it will execute at least once. That means do while will execute at least once if the condition is false, because it is checking the condition at the end. So first the execution will be done, then the condition will be executed. But in case of while, if the condition is false here, it will not execute the loop, right? So this is the basic difference between do while and while. So difference is what? Do while will execute at least once if the program has a wrong condition, but while will not execute if the condition is false, because the condition is at the beginning. At the beginning, if compiler finds its condition is false, then it will not execute for repetitions, isn't it? So this is all about the theoretical portion of your loops. Let's start our practical with the all three loops. Okay, when we talk about loops, we have to make a question first. What are the problems we can solve with loops? So first problem what we see, that we have a problem to print a message 10 times, right? So what we learned earlier, if we want to print it, we have two choices. One, to use the printf statement repeatedly, right? So we saw if we use printf statement for a message, hello, how are you, we have to use this 10 times. If we say 20 times, then we have to use 20 times. So I already told you this is not the better solution, because we have to write the code how many number of times, the number of times the question is asking, isn't it? So question is 10 times, so we have to write like this, printf again, isn't it? It is not a better solution. So what we do, we will put the statement inside a loop. How can we put? See, we take a variable for initializing the variable. So we say I is equals to 1 and we use a do while loop. We put the printf statement as we have so on our syntax. What we have to do, we will put the output statement inside the do while loop. So we put output statement here. Now what we have to do, we have to use while here, already saw in our syntax. Then the condition is what, which matches this variable. I say I is equals to 1, then we say I less than equals to 10. That means the loop should not terminate till I becomes 10. Then how I becomes 10? I is 1, then I should be value 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. Depends on the question, isn't it? So what we do here, we will put an increment statement with a single increment, because we can put with the 2 increments or we can put with the 3 increments, but the question is to print 10 times. That means the counter which we are making, it should be related to the question. Question is to print the 10 times. So how will be the 10 times? It will be like 1, 2, 3, 4. When the counter will be 1, then 1 time, then counter will be 2, then 2 times, then counter for the 3 times, in this way. So we use getch here. We have already learned why getch are using in our previous videos. So we save the file it again the similar manner. So we use the loop.c and we run the program and we will see how our output is, isn't it? This is our output. What we want, hello, how are you, 10 times, isn't it? So what loop do? Loop does do this statement and then increment and then check the condition. Now I is here 1. When we say I plus 1, it will become I 1 plus 1 2. Then I will be initialized as 2. So 2 will be checked with less than equals to 10. Then that means whether 2 is less than equals to 10. Yes, it is. Loop will again execute it by the, isn't it? This is the manner how loop will execute. the loop will execute till the condition is true. If I put here, for example, not 1, I put here 9. Okay, when we use I is equals to I plus 9, first time it will print like this. I plus 9 is what? 1 plus 9 is 10. Yeah, it will execute. 10 is less than. So second time it will executing. Next time when 9 plus, this is already 10. 10 plus 9 is again 19. It will not print. So how many times it will print? It will print 2 times. Right? So we run it. We will show. Isn't it? So it depends on this increment value what you are putting here. If I put 3, then it will step by 3 steps, plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, like this. So I want, what is my question? When I saw the problem, according to the problem we have to create the answer. So problem was print a message 10 times. So we have to make steps 10 times. 10 times means this is the only solution. If I is 1, then we can say plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. That means I is 1, then 1 time print, then 2 times. If you want how counter is working, so you can put here also. You can say like this, person, like this. You can what? Counter I, like this. Yeah, we can use this statement also. Counter I, person D, right? Message, and we delete it here, and we have used person D sign, so we have to use the variable, right? Counter I, or you can say counter I is equal to, for the clear concept. So we say counter I is equals to person D, message hello, how are you? Okay, we will check it and you will learn how this message is appeared. So counter I is equals to 1, it will print 1 time, then 2, then second time 3, then, isn't it? So counter last is what? I is equals to 10. Then the message is hello, how are you? Isn't it clear now? Okay. Now if you use the same concept, same question for the while. For the while, what we have to do then? We have to, what we do? We delete it from here and we have to put condition here for while, and we put the same condition here, less than 10. We have already learned this. We need not to use this termination and all here. So we will close this. Don't use this termination, right? That's it. Now run this program. Same output, isn't it? Then what is the difference between do while and while? We have already learned this. We will see this practically. Suppose I say I greater than equals 10. It will print no. We will run it. Nothing, isn't it? So we saw if the condition is false, in case of while, it will not execute even in a single time. But if we say it is the case of do while, okay, we will change it again. We will put the condition false here, right? Now run this program. It will execute at least once, isn't it? Because condition is at the end, right? When the condition is at end, then and then it will come out from the loop, isn't it? So this is the basic difference between while and do while. And the for loop, when we talk about the same question with the help of for loop, so all the things are in a single line. So what we do, we put for here, right? We say I less than equals to 10 here. We say I is equals to I plus 1. All the three things, initial, final and the increment, we have to put on a single line. So we delete it from here. We need not to use this, isn't it? This is our for program, isn't it? Right? Now run it. That's it, isn't it? We make the changes, we put all the three things which were in do while, scattered, initial, then the final, in the middle the increment. We put the all three things in single line here. Then it is very easy for compiler. That's why for loop is most popular loop used worldwide while using programming for any language. So for loop is the most popular loop and the fastest loop, you can say, right? So I is equals to 1, I less than equals to 10, I is equals to, you have to use this semicolon 2 times. You can't put, if you want another increment statement, you can't put semicolon here again and I is equals to something. No, there are only 2 semicolons which are present between, after the condition and before the condition. If you want another variable to initialize, for example j is equals to 1, for any programming you have to use comma sign. You can use multiple conditions, multiple initializations or multiple increments with the help of comma. Remember this, not with the help of semicolon. You can use with the help of comma, like j is equals to 1. We will see in the future, but you have to remember this time we just use 2 semicolons, right? Getting clear now? So this is the concept of loops: do while, and for. You can do many more questions in the loops and practice yourself, but the basic concept is this: you have to use the initial value, you have to use the final value, and you have to use the step up or step down or any other method by which you can reach to the particular condition to make it true or to make it false, isn't it? That's it for today. Have a good day.